But how did this colossal undertaking come about? And what was the artist's inspiration behind the massive murals inside this abandoned Australian mansion? To answer these and more is artist Rone. Hi Rone, thank you so much for joining us on Showcase today. So tell us how the project started, because it's quite rare to see a historical mansion to be transformed into almost like a standalone artwork.
The project started, I was offered the space by one of the owners of the building. He'd seen a previous exhibition of mine where I'd taken over a 2-bedroom weatherboard house and I'd painted some walls and brought in some furniture, and he offered me this space as like, well, maybe I could come and see it and maybe paint a wall or something. And I kind of, took advantage of that in the sense of like, well, maybe we could do a little bit more than just paint a few walls. And I've created an entire installation.
And tell me about the concept behind the project. You are in the mansion now. So tell me what's going on in that room, for example.
Yeah, this room that we're in right now, I call the sunroom. And what we've done is brought in all this furniture and working with an interior stylist to work out exactly the right type of furniture that goes within this space. And then we've covered everything in dust to make it look like it's been sitting here for decades, and even the tiny, tiny little cobwebs and the way we've placed the knitting needles, as if someone's just kind of gotten up and walked away out of this room and it's just been walked away from this beautiful space.
And you taking the visitors to the past of an imagined family. Tell me about that, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell a story almost about why someone would walk away from all this. And it's such a beautiful building and the objects and the furniture within it. And my concept with this was based on the lyrics of a song talking about my empire of dirt, you can have it all. And it was something that I saw that Johnny Cash had done, which is a weird coincidence that I was in Tennessee, and it inspired me. Like, there's a beautiful story with the way that Johnny Cash talks about his empire of dirt and giving it all up for his love, who's June Carter. And I watched a film clip that kind of explained, it showed all of the stuff that he collected in his lifetime and how it was in the end really worthless. And he's seen as like a god to some, but he knows that it's worth nothing compared to the love he has for his wife. And I thought that was such a beautiful sentiment, and almost trying to tell that similar story where it's like this beautiful house, but without her, it's all nothing.
That's a great story. Now, Rone, female faces in general play a big role in your art. Why is that?
Yeah, in my art, the female faces do play a big role. And with this story, it was kind of like she's the one character of the building, and she's throughout, and like she's the, in the story I was talking about, she's the most important thing, in the end. Of all this, it's without her, it's kind of worthless. But my story of painting female, kind of these classic beauties, comes from street art and graffiti, where everything was super masculine, and I tried to challenge that, where I was painting the exact opposite to a lot of my friends, and I loved the way that the image would kind of slowly fall apart and deteriorate on the street. And there was something about that juxtaposition of beauty and decay that I fell in love with and continued to explore further.
Mm. And Rone, I wonder if your artwork is going to be there for a long time, or is it just a temporary exhibition?
It's just a temporary exhibition. So April 22nd is the end of the exhibition, and the building is actually under like a heritage allocation, where, so my agreement with heritage is that everything I've done is temporary. So I have to pull out everything I've brought in, take out the wallpaper, paint over anything I've painted, and get it back to the clean white state in which I found it. So that will definitely be a sad moment to pull this out. But for me, that's what makes documenting all this work so important. So I've put so much work into documenting this space. We've scanned it in 3D, so it becomes an AR experience, and we've filmed it with VR, and there's a VR experience of part of this as well. And the photography I've done is to the highest level that I could possibly do, and it's only going to live in memory in this documentation. It's really sad to see it all go, but for me, I'm confident that I've documented the best I possibly could, and I feel that the memory is often kind of more beautiful than the reality of if it stayed here for another 20 or 30 years.
Well, I can see that it's going to be hard for you to see it all dismantled. And as a last question, Rone, I'm curious whether you would personally want to live in this building.
Oh, would I personally like to live in this building? No, it's too much of a giant building. Like it is scary at night. It's it's like, I think the pressure of having such a giant building is immense, and I've even spoken to the actual owners about it, and they've talked about they could possibly turn it into their home, but they even realize that it's kind of insanity to have a house this big for one family.
Well, I got good news for you then. You don't have to. Thank you so much, Rone, for joining us on Showcase today and letting us in your empire.
You're welcome. Thank you.